Hello, everyone. Welcome to another review from Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven. I'm joined today by Mr. Alex and Jack.
Hello.
Hello.
And we are here to review Doom the Dark Ages. Alex, why don't we just start with you, man?
I got into Doom shortly after they made the 2016, which is technically a reboot. Technically, it's a sequel. It originally started as a reboot, but they got pretty clever with the whole arc there. The modern Doom games technically now complete a trilogy. So in 2016, we had Doom. In 2020, we had Doom Eternal. And now, 2025, we have Doom the Dark Ages. And I got into Doom. I don't know if it wasn't right when 2016 game came out. I got into it a couple years after, and I completely fell in love with it. I loved that game. I couldn't believe how much I loved it. And so it caused me to obsess over Doom Eternal when it came out, which trust me, I obsessed over that one. And then built a new computer and got myself ready to play Doom the Dark Ages. See, look, I even got the little physical copy there. I know, some of you are probably going to say, oh, there's no physical copy in there. I know. It's just cool. It's just cool to have, right? I do got the figurine statue, but I don't want to hold that.
Oh!
Yeah, it's got a mace, and it has a real chain, and that thing's hard to mess around with, so I can send pictures. But, yeah.
So here's a picture of it, just so you can see it. Here it is.
Ta-da! Doom the Dark Ages came out, and this is a big, meaty game. There's a lot to say about it. Steve hasn't played any of the Doom games, so honestly, Dark Ages is a pretty good one to jump in without even knowing what any of them are. Here's the funny thing about the Doom modern day trilogy format, is Doom the Dark Ages is technically the one that, as far as the story goes, is the first one.
Nice.
Yes, it's a prequel to the earlier two Doom games. So if you want to play them in a chronological order, you play Dark Ages, then you play 2016, then you finish with Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is currently the ending of this franchise. For now, they're probably never going to stop making Doom games. It's just as iconic as Mario at this point. And you got the money, just like Steve was putting there. Do you have anything to add to that intro, Jack, before we go into the actual review?
I mean, nothing really to add. I'm not much of a Doom fan as Alex, but I did love Doom Eternal. I haven't played 2016, which I might have to after all this. The problem is I hear it's the weakest Doom of them all. I mean, obviously that's like saying Metroid Prime 3 is the weakest of the Metroid Prime trilogy when I love all of them, so I don't think that's really saying much. But so yeah. I'll probably have to give it a go after this.
I would say it's a really good time to do that. And what's crazy about this trilogy is I think id Software did such a good job on all three of them that they all are kind of different. They actually all have a very different identity. They all play a little different. Mechanically, they work a little different. They are, through and through, Doom games. The Doom Dark Ages really changed the whole formula. But because of that, there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of opinions. Some people still like the original 2016 the most. I would say, from my opinion, let's say expert opinion in this community, I think the fan base overall thinks Eternal's the best one. And I probably will still lean there. But Dark Ages is already gaining a fan base. People love it. Not everybody loves it, but it's kind of like Jack was mentioning, there's kind of like you create these new games and franchises like Mario Sunshine. Some people didn't like it because it had the backpack, the water mechanic. Like, what's this? This isn't Mario, this is a water shooting game. Doom the Dark Ages did something similar. It very much changed the formula. And so obviously people who are used to an older style are going to be a little more edgy about that. But we'll get to more of kind of how that plays into effect. But yeah, I would say play Doom 2016 because despite the fact that I do think it's the weakest of the three, it's still a really good game. Like, you'll be impressed. Like, there's when I played it again just recently, I was like, man, I see why I love this game so much. It's got some really cool aspects to it. So with that said, let's just dive right in. I kind of had a couple of categories so we can break this game, let alone this trilogy, into. The big one here, this is the one we'll get out of the way. we'll just go right into the story of Doom: The Dark Ages, because I say that is Doom always has been gameplay and fun first before story. Story is kind of tacked on as a secondary feature, but they started getting serious with the story in this franchise with 2016. And then they just kind of evolved it from there. A lot of things happen in Eternal, and then Doom: Dark Ages expands on the stuff that Eternal and 2016 mention, because it's a prequel. But I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, the story is strongest in Dark Ages. Not saying it's the best, but it is a big focus, and there's a lot of cutscenes. Some people complain because they're like, oh, there's too many cutscenes, but you can skip them. So I don't understand why. I don't understand why that's a critique if you can skip the cutscene. If you're just here to shoot demons, just hold spacebar. Come on. But it's got a lot of cutscenes. It's got a lot of bigger characters outside of just Doom Guy. And Doom Guy's just same old Doom Guy. He doesn't... he says one word in this game. One single... In Doom Eternal, he says one word. And in this game, he says one word.
Are they different words, or is it
they
the
are
same
different.
word
They're different words, and they're both single syllable words.
Okay.
And to be fair, in Doom Eternal, there's some flashbacks where before he became the Doom Guy, you could say, and he does talk a little bit more. But this guy is like giving Samus and Link a run for their money as far as how much they say. In fact, I would say Link says more words.
I would say Link wins because he just grunts, but there's the TV show where he's talking nonstop, so...
Well, excuse me!
Me, princess. But the campaign in Dark Ages, I enjoyed it for what it was, because to me, it kind of felt like it reminded me if I was like playing an FPS in like 2008. Like, it was just really focused on big bad demons, lots of let me put it this way. If I could sum up Dark Ages campaign and story, they focused on the rule of cool. If anybody doesn't know what the rule of cool is, it's like whenever you got these nerds designing a video game, they're like, let's throw this in because it would be cool. Like, that's the only reason. There's so much stuff in this game that's just there just to be cool that you just can't help but just be like, okay, this is just funny. Like, it just never lets up, and it just keeps going. It's over the top. It's wild. So there's that. What are your thoughts on the story, Jack?
When you were talking about first, I thought there was going to be more story, but when we get here, it's kind of just Doom Guy. Like, he doesn't say anything. He just shows up, starts killing everybody, doesn't say anything to anybody, saves the day, and kind of just walks around, doesn't say anything, and then goes and kills more demons, kind of. And I loved it. Because Doom Guy doesn't talk, he doesn't hear anybody's story. Like, he doesn't even hear the mission briefings and stuff.
I was gonna say, doesn't he just like shove it away? He's like, I don't care.
Yeah, he's the guy that's skipping the cutscenes pretty much.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it.
I love that. That's so great.
There's literally a level where you just get there and like the guys are just talking in the comms about it, and that's how you figure out what the heck you're even there for. Like, just people chatting on the comms, just Doom Guy could probably just care less.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
lay waste to y'all.
Just obsessed with killing demons. I mean, they've really kind of kept the identity of the franchise pretty darn well. Just you're Doom Guy. You shoot demons. You kill demons, and it's violent. Awesome. It's bloody. I mean, it's gory. It's bloody. It's violent, and there's metal music. And the formula just works. It's funny because I probably talked the story up to Jack, so he's thinking there'd probably be more story. But Jackson's used to playing RPG games, and I'm used to playing FPSs. For an FPS, this was a big story.
Yeah, well, I was thinking something more like Halo Infinite. I mean, those are pretty heavy story compared to this, but let's just say it was just an edgy story of Doom Guy kicking everybody's butt. I mean, what else do you want from Doom?
There's one part in the story I noticed it more because I'm close to beating it a second time, But there's only one part of the story.
Dang.
Yeah, it's funny because you kind of see like I never know what they're going with Doom Guy because it's like Jack said, he's like the guy skipping the cutscenes. He doesn't care. He's not listening. But there's one part of the game where this character's talking to him. It's like Farah or something. Probably butchered the name. It's this chick, and he's just on a table where there's tools, and he's just like knocking them around, like he's not listening to her. And then when she's like, look, it's really important. This if you don't kill this guy, everyone's gonna die. And he's just on his way walking out. He just kind of looks at her. And he just kind of tilts his head as if like, fine, I acknowledge that. And then he walks off. Like, that's almost as much as you're going to get with him agreeing with you.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim Guy has some major ADHD. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
Well, I think he was working on his weapons in that scene,
Yes.
if I'm thinking of that.
He was like,
Okay.
with the guns or whatnot. And the guns in this game are just ridiculous. There's a video that's saying we showed a weapons expert the weapons in Doom, the Dark Ages, and if anybody's familiar with Dark Ages, there's literally a weapon that it's like a grinder, and the ammo is a skull. You put the skull in it, and it starts grinding the skull. So you're shooting out little pieces of skull, like
pieces of bone.
That sums up Doom the Dark Ages right there.
You mean modern weapons don't use skulls as ammo, man?
Yeah, there's also this weapon it's like related to the whole cosmic horror, and it just shoots this. It has a big giant metal ball, and it shoots this big metal ball like 50 feet. There's a chain attached to it, and it hits it, pummels and kills it, and it pulls it right back. Like, just this over-the-top, insane weapon. Like, you're just like, what the heck? The weapons are really cool, this game. and if anybody...
Because it would be cool.
Exactly. Because it would be cool. Thank you. And...
You're welcome.
True fans will know this, but I'll throw it out there. There were several guns in this game. It's got 2 weapons, to my knowledge. I know at least one of them. Huge reference to a weapon in Quake. Quake is big on the medieval weapons, where these guns are shooting these spikes. Quake is big on that. Doom Eternal has several of these guns, and they took a lot of inspiration from Quake in this game. Some people even speculated that the next big id game was going to be a remaster or a new Quake game, kind of like what 2016 did to Doom.
Right.
What they did was they gave us just another Doom game, but they kind of put some of the identity and influence of Quake into it. So,
dang, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, and I loved Quake. I beat Quake 1 and 2. Haven't played more than that, but those are the iconic ones. Well, since we're talking about story real quick and references, one last thing, and I'm going to ask you, Jack, if you spotted this. The question is, Jack, did you actually ever play Duke Nukem? In this Doom game, in the story, in fact, here, let's just talk about this for a second. Every Doom game features, like, 2 main things. Either hell, you fight in hell a lot, right? And the hell is what you would expect. It's very Dante Inferno. It's taking inspiration from metal albums, just spikes, fire, metal skulls, right? That's what the hell is in Doom, and it's always been really
That's
cool.
awesome.
It's awesome. And then there's also the space stations, because Doom originally takes place on Mars, in the space station on Mars. So it's got the whole sci-fi thing to it as well.
Cool.
But the one thing this Doom game did that none of them did, to my knowledge, is it added a cosmic realm. We're talking like Cthulhu. And Cthulhu, I'm just going to say Cthulhu's in the game. They don't call him Cthulhu, but it's Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's Cthulhu.
It's Cthulhu. He's in the game. He's in the game, and the cosmic realm it's awesome. Like, this was a chance where they really had a moment to create something that kind of like Scorn, if I can tell you what something that's really something that's eldritch, unknown, cosmic horror, and that was a really cool realm. There's a lot of underwater segments of all these giant tentacles and all that stuff. So, like, bizarre, wild stuff. But a really popular Doom demon is called the Caco Demon. Just a big floating ball with a giant eyeball and a mouth. They're in virtually every Doom game. And the Caco Demon in this Doom game, they redesigned it to fit the Caco Demon in the Cosmic Realm. And it's just a big floating brain with tentacles. But it's a direct reference to the floating demons in Duke Nukem. Like, they are literally...
Oh, no way.
They are literally the floating demons of Duke Nukem, just modernized, basically. And
That's so cool.
It's way cool. So if anybody's played Duke Nukem, they see them, they're like, oh, that's what that is. So, and it's funny because people, what do you call them, traditionalists, fans, don't, oh, I can't believe they changed the Kako Demon. It's like, bro, this was cool. This was a reference to Duke Nukem. Let's move on to the next category. We had to make this its own category, and we're not going to try to make it last all day because it's probably the most contentious category of them all. The music.
Oh, let's go. Really?
Yes, the music.
Yeah.
So, let me give you a background real quick.
Whoa.
Not many video games there been a composer that people remember by his name through a game. So when you think of other video games, you think, oh, that game had a cool soundtrack. Who did it? Oh, I gotta look it up. Almost everybody knows that Mick Gordon did the soundtrack for Doom 2016. That's when it really shined, and it really helped explode the game into a different kind of popularity. Not only was the music awesome, he created a new subgenre of metal. And
Hey.
it doesn't necessarily have a name. It falls more into the industrial side. Some people call it doom metal, argent metal. Different names you can get it. But it has a distinct style, and it's really awesome. But controversy with Mick Gordon goes all the way back to Doom Eternal, because that's when he eventually was let go from id Software. And we're not going to get into that. Everybody is welcome to dive into that. I took a minute to look into that. And I do think there is some warrant on Mick's side. I think he was done a little dirty there, but I don't fully take Mick's side. I think it was just a complicated issue that was happening on both sides, but I do think some people did do him dirty. But point is, there was a lot of people who tried to... They're like, I'm never going to buy Doom game or id game again. And they kind of took Mick's music as this feature that has to be in Doom, which, in my opinion, it doesn't. I don't think Mick helped redefine Doom music, and I'm completely grateful for what he did. But the DLCs for Doom Eternal didn't have Mick make the music for them. I may get the names off. There were two of them. One of them was like Andrew Holsholt or something. But I freaking love that music. The music in those DLCs was awesome. And so that was when I was like, yeah, it doesn't have to be Mick. And what was cool is they still kind of kept his style, but put in their own style as well. So same thing. This game had somebody completely new make the music. And so that just caused some controversy. And I think, now, people can say whatever they want about id or Mick. They can say it was unfair. That's fine. What I think is unfair is how people have been treating the guy who's done the music for Dark Ages. I think that there's just an agenda, and people are just like, I'm just going to hate it on default just because they kind of made up their mind beforehand. But I'm just going to say this. I think the soundtrack for this game rocked. I loved it. Freaking was awesome. The guy's name escaped my head again, who did this one. Finishing Move. Type in Dark Ages and Finishing Move soundtrack. You'll get it up there. But I think Finishing Move did an excellent job. Some of my favorite Doom tracks are from Dark Ages now. Like, I put them right up there with Mick's stuff. Like, some stuff was good, but I put it right up there with Mick, like his best works. There's a few of them that I freaking love. So, what are your thoughts on the music, Jack?
So, overall, I'd probably say I liked Eternal soundtrack more. But, so I can see some reviewers in the beginning were kind of like, these tracks are kind of a little forgettable and were kind of worried about it. So I think games kind of started out a little not as good, as kind of forgettable. But as we got into the later levels, kind of the cosmic realm and everything after, I thought the music was starting to get really, really good to me. So I thought that there were some banging tracks, but near the beginning of the game, I thought it was kind of forgettable.
Okay, fair enough. I think it's worth saying this too, this is what's the tough part about being a video game critic and a video gamer is, and I think both of you guys can attest to this, sometimes your opinion on the music and certain things of the game really change when you play it a second or third or fourth time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because when I played the DLCs to Doom Eternal, the music didn't really stick out to me. But I played Doom Eternal a lot. I did get the Ultra Nightmare achievement on the second DLC, and so I had to play
Crazy, man.
some of those, and I tried to get on the first one, so I played some of those levels 10, 20 times, and by, we're talking months later, and by the 20th time, I was like, dude, this is some of my favorite music now. And it wasn't that before. And some of the music in Dark Ages that didn't stick to me the first playthrough is sticking to me the second. This is why reviewing a game could be weird, is you have very different opinions when you play it more and more. And sometimes if the game just gets better, well, that's always a good thing, right? Rather than the opposite. You're like, or I don't know. But there you go. So, but yeah, I agree with Jackson there. Has a pretty banger soundtrack and pretty big soundtrack too, because the game has 22 levels. And for first person, it's 22 levels, and some of them are 30 minutes to an hour. So,
dang.
Yep. So it's rather large game. Yeah, for a Doom game, for an FPS, it's a pretty big game. So,
jeez,
I know, right?
Yeah, I would agree with you on the music though, because maybe I do need to listen to some of those tracks after the game, because sometimes you're focused on staying alive and killing everything. It's the first time you
exactly.
And then you're it just goes over your head a little bit.
It's true. What I recommend doing, and this wasn't just my idea, I heard it from other streamers, with the Dark Ages, go into the settings, put the music up at 100%, and put everything else to around 70 or 60. It makes it a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
It makes it a lot better. Sometimes, like you said, that first time you're playing, you're only hearing the guns and the demons, and you're like, you need to turn the music a little up, and then we can hear it better. I would probably agree with Jack, though. I think Eternal's my favorite soundtrack, but I still love the soundtrack. It was a good one. There were some really bangers in there. So, putting music aside, that just leaves us to the final category, is the gunplay, the mechanics. As far as how I rank this whole trilogy right now, it's going to be hard for anything to top Doom Eternal for me, for obvious reasons. I was obsessed with that game. I played it for a year straight. So, am I going to play Dark Ages for a year straight? I doubt it. We'll see, because it is getting a couple of DLCs, so I'm excited for those.
Ooh.
We got some DLC, so more content coming, so we'll see. But as far as if I had to measure Dark Ages or 2016, a lot of Doom fans aren't going to agree with this, but I like Dark Ages more than 2016. And I like the combat loop better. I've been currently beating it a second time, and I'm playing it on a difficulty even harder than Nightmare. I had to use the difficulty sliders and make it more difficult, and it's been rough. There's a big learning curve, but I'm enjoying it. I can feel that there's a pretty high skill ceiling, and the more I play, there's some obvious usually when you play these games and you get your trash beat over and over, you just naturally just want to be like, man, this game is so cheap. Like that, how am I supposed to avoid that? But then you keep playing, and then you start to see cracks, and then you start to say, maybe I just really wasn't as good as I thought I was, and I'm getting better, That's what a good game does. Good game is when there's always room to improve. This one definitely has it. There's a lot to improve. There's a lot of strategies, and there's a lot of muscle memory that I need to adapt into this game and drop from Doom Eternal. If you're a big Doom Eternal fan, there are some things that transfer over and help you out, but Doom Eternal is heavily based on dashing and dodging and being in the air. This game is...
It looks like it.
Yeah, this game is using a shield, and I still have to really get that in my... I'm still stuck in a mindset sometimes where I see projectiles coming at me, I try to move out of their way rather than block it. That's still the Eternal stuff.
Dang.
Yeah. So and you can get out of their way sometimes, but put your shield up. So, what'd you think of the combat, Jack?
I think that was my biggest holdup too, was I wasn't using my shield enough. I was trying to get out the way of stuff.
Yep. And we just
I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, it just keep dying. You're like, ah.
But can you also use the shield as a weapon? Did you forget to use it as a weapon too?
Yes.
Oh, we're using it as a weapon. It's just that there's so many things shooting you in this game. And shield
every direction.
The shield really rewards you when you use it at the right moment. So if you're not putting it up at the prime moment that you should be, the shield will break, and then you have to run around for a few seconds without it until it comes back.
Oh, dang.
So there's a strategy to how you should use it, and there is a strategy to what you should be avoiding and who you should be killing so they're not breaking your shield. That's one of the biggest strategies with this entire franchise. It goes all the way back to 2016. It's big and internal. Is usually when a fight starts, it puts you in an arena, and it's a combination of different types of demons you're fighting. And throughout the game, you're fighting a lot of different types of demons. And these demons will punish you up close, or they'll punish you far away. So there's a strategy of how close you want to be to them versus how far away. And then you have to take the strategy into account of which demon do I got to kill first, which one's a bigger threat. It's about prioritization. And there are combinations of two different types of demons that you fight sometimes. It's like, I can't, I'll just die. It's just get wrecked. It's crazy. It's fast paced, but I love it. It's been a lot of fun. So definitely enjoying the game. And I've been playing it the second time, collecting everything. And as far as collecting and doing all the secrets and stuff, this might be my favorite in the trilogy as far as how fun it was to collect everything. Granted, there were a few things I had to Google, and when I found out how to get to them, I was like, those are the dumbest... I would have never found that out. Screw that.
Man.
So,
Yep.
It's worth mentioning that this is the first Doom game that introduces two entirely different mechanics, and this is also kind of a controversial topic depending on who you talk to, but it's the playing in the giant mech or flying your dragon pet. And so there's a flying combat when you're on your pet, and then there's also the big giant Pacific Rim mech style combat, and they're entirely different than the normal combat. They're a lot easier, a little clunkier, and if you're a pro player and you're playing this game constantly, the pros called it. They're like, these sequences are going to get old fast because it's just like there's no challenge. I get through it quick, and I just give me to the next one. But these sequences were really more for people who are only going to play this game once. People who are just going to hop in and play. Because visually, what they do visually and what they do to the story is kind of cool. I mean, I'll hand it to them. The fact that they dropped the multiplayer and put an entire team so they can put just more. Because people even asked for the mech thing. They were asking for this mech thing because Doom Eternal had these giant mechs flying around. So the fact that it did it, I'll give them credit where it's due. I think it's kind of cool. The dragon sequences, I actually kind of like the dragon sequences because it added the scale to the world. It's like they did a lot with these giant worlds, but you're just flying through this huge. It feels huge, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It gives this feeling of a big scale. Some people, though, I understand the critique. They're like, I just want to play the game. I think what it should do is add a feature or an option to be able to skip the dragon and the mech segments if you're doing like Ultra Nightmare runs. That's what I think.
Oh,
that would
interesting.
That would probably be beneficial. Yep, probably be beneficial because trust me, somebody who's doing Ultra Nightmare on this, those sequences are just going to slow them down. They're just
dang.
Here we go again. Do the mech scene again. So,
dang.
Yep. So, you have any other thoughts, Jack?
So just on the combat, I am of the opinion that adding parrying makes everything better. So that's
not the parrying.
One thing I really liked about this game was the parrying. It made you feel like you were the Doomslayer getting in this giant demon's face and just knocking him around, essentially. So I thought it really helped the fantasy of this one being a tank. Like, literally you drop off of high places and hit the ground, and it's like an earthquake, and it kills all the demons around you. Like, they hit the fantasy of being the Doomslayer perfectly. Like, this guy felt like he weighed tons.
Yeah, like, you know how when you play those, it's kind of like I'll use Halo as an example, but I love Halo. I'm not trying to dog Halo, but They always
Watch
paint,
it.
They always paint Master Chief as like this cool, big, awesome. But then you'll fight like this big demon. He'll just one shot you, and you're like, I gotta like kite this guy. Like Doom: The Dark Ages does not have that problem. like it's just like what Jack said. There are parts where he's big. The demons look awesome in this game, by the way. Like they all have that medieval aesthetic to them with skulls and fur capes. These giant demons just coming, and when they raise their weapon, it indicates like you have that split second to block the whole parry thing. And
Yes.
the effects and everything they do when you're in a fight, because it slows down briefly and you can hear it, just like gong, and then you have your chance to pull like your super shotgun out and shoot them back, and then you also have the melee aspect on top of it of your flail. Like the combat, like if you were to watch a pro player just go through like let's say like an Ultra Nightmare run in some of the biggest fights, it looks amazing. Like it's like what Jack says. You're just like, dang, you really do just feel like the coolest guy ever. Just nobody takes crap from he doesn't take crap from anybody. So,
Jeez. And there's your dopamine rush too. When you hit that block and it slows down time, and you hear the ding, the satisfying ding. There's the
it's
dopamine.
there. It's there.
It's fun.
And you're like, oh,
He's
what am I going to do to you now? Oh, jeez.
And there's several shots that some of the demons do that are harder to block than others. And when you block those hard ones, oh, it's so satisfying.
Did it give you more reward too? Like really cool visual for it too?
Oh, there's mechanics in the game that reward you based off of it. You can customize the combat. There's 3 different type of melee weapons. You have your fist, you have your flail, or you have this cosmic flail that like one-shot stuff. It has one charge. And it's one of the funnest weapons ever because you just hit anything and they just blow up. And then you have an option that basically your shield. It's a shield bonus. And there's 4 different options. So one of them is if you block with your shield, the little turret on your back starts shooting ahead of you. Or you block it and everything in front of you in a cone is shocked. Like they added all these effects.
Oh, it's so cool.
So yeah, if you have the right thing and you just block it, everything's blowing up around you. It's awesome.
That sounds so cool.
It's great. Okay. I recommend it. Freaking love it.
Yeah, I used the heck out of that shock. Was it Ruin or whatever it was?
My favorite was the gun.
Yeah, the gun was fun, but I'm like, I just want to use the shock. Just eviscerate everything in front of me.
The gun is
Shock
like
'em all.
the gun's the best one for single target damage. The shock is like AoE, goes everywhere. It's awesome.
So cool.
So yeah, it's got all that, and then it's got there's collectibles that you collect to upgrade your guns, and so they have new features added to them and stuff. Like the whole like RPG, not necessarily RPG, but the whole progressive system in this game is very fun. Like everything rewards you, everything feels good when you find it, especially 1-ups. Like all that stuff there. Like it's just
That was a good one. I love those.
The 1-ups?
basically if you die, it gives you a chance to not die. And for a split second, it gives you some health again.
That'll be for me.
Yeah, it's a 1-up.
Perfect.
Oh, but it's great. So basically, that's what I'm saying is big fan of the game. Love it. I rank it second in the trilogy. My opinion may change if I play it for 6 more months. We'll see. But regardless, I don't regret buying a new computer for this game. I'm playing it more, enjoying it. Go. Yeah, good game. I recommend it
So
to
sick.
any FPS fan, and even somebody who's into like the parry stuff, Sekiro fans and all that. Probably worth a shot. Probably worth a try. So
And you heard it here first. So y'all know. So what would be your score for both of you if you, as you go to review this? So you said it's the second best in the series. So what would that reflect in the score? Like how would that reflect in the score?
oh man, it's weird because Doom Eternal for me is a perfect 10. So here's a question, Jack. Like I was gonna say this quickly, but how would you rate this game if it came out by itself and was attached to no franchise? It was its own thing. I think people would have been way more forgiving on a soundtrack, for one.
Yeah,
most likely. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
For sure. Because I think as a standalone game, I would probably give this a 10. To be honest, it's just hard for me to give it a 10 compared to Eternal. I'll probably sit at a 9.5 right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jack, how about you?
I would give it probably a 9 out of 10.
And I'm not giving it anything because I haven't played it. So that brings the official Simply Nerdy score for Doom: The Dark Ages to a 9.3 out of 10. Second best in the series.
Last question for you, Steve.
Yes, sir.
If this game is announced on Switch 2, would you play it?
I probably will.
Jack, do you think this
I was
game-
just thinking that as you were talking it up, I was like, okay, maybe I gotta give this a try.
Do you think this has a good chance to come to Switch 2, Jack?
Whew. I mean, Doom Eternal got on the Switch, and that was kind of a possible port too, but the problem is going to come down to how good is Switch's GPU on ray tracing. Which I think it's actually pretty capable, but I would have to look it up.
So, FYI, Steve, Doom Eternal, people would have, if anybody, I remember when it first came out, people were like, when's it going to come on the Switch? And a lot of people were like, it's not coming on the Switch. It did. And it was a pretty impressive port, to my knowledge, because a lot of people were like, there's no way the Switch can play that game. I think the Switch 2 probably could do it. It's just going to need some work.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. I mean, I heard that it uses ray tracing for like everything.
It's like everything.
Or something like that.
Yep. So I think they'll
We'll have
need to
to
do
see.
a little bit of tweaking. But
Yeah.
based off what I've been told, I bet you they could probably do it.
So I did just look it up, and it looks like the Switch 2 does have at least tensor cores for ray tracing, so it probably is capable of running Doom: The Dark Ages, at least with a lot of tweaking.
Hey, maybe we'll see this game announced for
Let's
Switch
go.
2. Maybe by the end of the year or next year we'll see it. So that'd be interesting.
Keep your eyes peeled, people.
I know, right?
Thank you guys so much for helping me review the game. I do have a few questions. The first one being, does Isabel make an appearance?
I wish.
Maybe she's a plushie somewhere.
Maybe they
A
got
plushie somewhere?
maybe they got
That'd be awesome.
if only. Maybe there's an Easter egg. Nobody found her yet. That's okay.
What was my other question? Oh, Alex.
Yes.
If someone was only going to play one game in the series, even though I know what you're gonna, I think I know what you're gonna say, but if they only play one game in the series, which game would you tell them to play?
That's actually a really tough question. Because part of me almost wants to say 2016 because it's so simple in its concept and it doesn't rely on the story of the other two. So,
Okay.
that's 2016 is easier to jump in. It's simpler. And it's a solid standalone game. It works the best without the others because Doom Eternal is adding to it. Then Dark Ages is adding to those two. Oh, I don't know. Sure.
That's not the answer I thought you were gonna give. For the record.
I would probably say Eternal.
There you go. That's the answer. I thought you were gonna say.
Probably would say Eternal because that's just Eternal is the most like faithful to the franchise down to the bone, in my opinion.
Right.
Dark Ages really did create its own identity. It's the most unique game outside of Doom 3. Aside of Doom 3, it's the most unique game in the franchise that did something completely different. And so it's going to have its own niche of fans. It's going to do its own thing. What's going to be really interesting, though, is to see what they do with DLCs. The DLCs can really change it up, make it even for the better. That's what's going to be the final test. So, but I would...
The final test, he says.
Doom Eternal is the winner by far right now if you count the DLCs. Because not only is Doom Eternal a big game, but the two DLCs on top of it make it a very big game. And you can do... There's so much more content in there from the other two because you got the master levels, all of that. So...
Okay.
Yep. I'd say Doom Eternal. But if you're like upset... If you're it depends on your case. If you're obsessed with Sekiro and Soul games, I'd probably say do Dark Ages. So,
See? It all depends on his audience. See, this guy adapts to his audience. That's how you do it.
there you go.
You can't
It's
be
a-
generic. What is this generic crap?
It was a good question though, because it's not an easy answer.
No, it's not. That's why I wanted to ask it.
But this is one thing that I will just say that this is, in my opinion, this is what I consider one of the best modern gaming trilogies of our time. Because there's a lot of game trilogies out there, but they're pretty similar to each other. This trilogy is very different. All three of these games are very different. And I think that was a really cool...
It's so refreshing.
Yes, I think that was a really cool thing that they did. And Nintendo's usually a good example, like Mario Sunshine. There was a Mario game that really changed it up. We need game developers to do that more, I think. I think it just makes... Instead of just the whole generic, here's your other game that's just like the other game. So
I think that could be said for not just the gaming industry, but like the movie industry too.
yeah.
Like originality really shines in this industry right now. And the more original you can be, you're all the better for it. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you liked it, please give us a subscribe, like this video, and ring the notification bell so you're notified whenever we review something else. Because we got a whole ton of videos coming for the Nintendo Switch 2, a ton of reviews on the way, plus another one from Alex and Jack here coming really soon. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys,
Keep it
keep
nerdy.
it nerdy.
Nerdy.